PLD provides a lesson block structure for integrated SSP kits and for the starter packs. This is the Year 3 and 4 demonstration video using the starter pack. The structure of the 30-minute daily routine over the full week is broken down as follows. Monday and Tuesday start with a whole class daily review before moving into speech sound mapping tasks. Wednesday starts with a whole class daily review before moving into word study tasks. Thursday and Fridays for repeated reading practice and phonic dictation. All Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday lessons commence with a review of the last 3 weeks worth of content, starting with high frequency words. All high frequency words are taught by speech sound mapping, and you will demonstrate with a group 1, a group 2 and a group 3 word. Option 1 as follows. Group 1, your word is minute. There are 60 seconds in a minute. Minute. What are my sounds in minute? I have e, t. Minute. Let's map the regular parts first. My first sound, my initial sound is e. Now we're going to map our irregular parts. This sound sounds like but it's represented by the letter U. And my final sound, T. There is a T, but he is followed by his silent final E friend, and the T sound is represented by 2 letters. If I was to read this word, I would say minute. If I were to use my spelling voice, I may say minute. Group 2, your word is learn. We learn many things at school. Learn. What are my sounds in learn? I have n. Learn. Let's map the regular parts. I have My final sound is n. Now we're going to map the irregular part. This is a sound that we haven't quite learnt. We've learnt the sound but we've learnt it as of her. And now we're going to apply it with these 3 letters, E, A and R, which can also say This is a pattern you haven't quite learnt yet. The word is learn, learn. Finally, group 3, your word is there. I found their puppy. There, meaning it belongs to someone. What are my sounds in there? I have there. Let's map the regular parts first. My initial sound is sounding right. Now my final part, it sounds like air, as in A-I-R, air, but it's actually represented as E-I-R. They don't normally say air, those 3 letters, when they're put together, so we're going to have to learn that by heart. Another option is to use a mnemonic with the children, a little picture prompt for them for them to remember the word. In this case, well, there is there and there. This there is referring to something that someone owns. So you might choose the little I and turn it into a person. Option 2 is to use the PLD High Frequency Word Program, which is a scripted process, day-by-day scaffolding, to introduce high frequency words speech sound mapping on a Monday, on day 1, before moving into reduced reading and spelling scaffolding on the subsequent days. Next, we're going to review each week's recently taught phonic concepts. Option 1 is the presentation of the flip book, just the recently covered sections. So, group 1, we have been learning in the last 3 weeks that the letter A, can also say the sound of bath. If I was going to use my reading voice, I'd say bath. If I was to use my spelling voice, we would say bath. We've also been learning the letter A can make the sound O, as in swan. Using my reading voice, we would say swan. Using my spelling voice, we would say swan. Group 2, over the last 3 weeks, we have been learning that when the letter C is followed by an E, it makes its soft sound S, as in face. We have also been learning that when you may find the letter S at the end of a word, it's followed by an E, and he says his soft S sound. Group 3, we have been learning the E sound. Right back, we started learning E of B. We've also learnt that the sound E can be represented as its long vowel sound, E of Steve. We've also been learning that the letters E and A can also say E, as in leaf. And finally, we have been revising that the consonant letter Y can also make the vowel E sound at the end of a word like puppy. Option 2 is to refer to the sound wall charts, which should reflect the current learning in the classroom. Option 3 is to use the flashcards in your time savers books. Group 1. Over the last 3 weeks, we have learnt that the letter A can also make the sound ah, as in bath. But we're going to put that into practice today. On your whiteboards, I want you to spell the word fast. Go. Show me. We've also been learning that the letter A, the sound A, can also make the sound O, as in swan. We're going to put this into practice with some spelling today. I'd like you to spell on your whiteboards the word watch. Go. Show me. Group 2. We have been revising that the letter C, when followed by an E, it makes his soft sound S, as in face. I think I'm going to get you to practice now. Can you please write for me the word place? Place. Show me. Group 2, we've also been learning that when S is at the end of a word, it's usually followed by an E, and he may say the sound S, as in house. Well, let's practice. I'd like you to spell the word mouse. Show me. Good. Group 3, you've been learning your E sounds. We have learnt E of B. Sound and write E of B on your whiteboards. Go. Check. We've also been learning our long vowel sound E of Steve. Sound and write E of Steve on your whiteboard. Go. Check. We've also learnt that E can be represented by E and A, as in leaf. Sound and write E of leaf on your whiteboard. Go. Check. And finally, we have learnt that the consonant letter Y can also make the E sound at the end of a word. Sound and write E of puppy on your board. Go. Check. Next, we move into explaining the phonic concept relevant to this week's list words for each group. Group 1, what are we learning this week? Well, we are learning that when C is followed by an E, an I, or a Y, it may say its long sound S. Yesterday, we applied that concept to the first 3 words on our list. Today, we're going to go to the next 3 words on our list. So my next word is going to be incentive. Incentive, incentive. Deceptive, deceptive, deceptive. Recent, recent, recent. Okay, who can tell me in group 1, what is an incentive that we might have in our classroom to make sure that we're behaving appropriately during each lesson time? Great. Use the word in context. Group 1, what are we learning this week? We are learning that when the letter C is followed by an E, an I or a Y, it says its sound S. Good. Group 2, what are you looking at this week? We've actually got 2 concepts this week. We are learning that when Z and E and S and E at the end of a word can make the digraph sound Z, as in zip. Yesterday we applied that to the first 2 words on both of our lists. Let's now apply it to the next 2 words on our lists. We have the word freeze, freeze. Snooze, snooze. Let's apply that with the S and E sounds making a Z. We have browse, browse. Raise, raise. Okay, who can tell me what does it mean when I'm going to go to the shops and I'm having a bit of a browse? What does that word mean? Great. So group 2, what are we learning this week? Let's revise. We are learning that when Z and E and S and E are at the end of a word, they may say the sound Z as in zip, Z as in sneeze, Z as in cheese. Group 3, well, you have already learnt the sounds, but guess what? They're all in one big list today, and you're going to have to learn when to apply which sound in what context. Okay, so we've learnt the of her, and yesterday we applied that to our first list word. Let's do that to our next list word. The word is yesterday, yesterday. We're also going to be practicing using the sound of church. Let's apply that to our next list word today. The word is burn. Finally, we have looked at the of bird. Yesterday we applied it to our first list word. Now we're going to do it with our next. The word is birth, birth. Group 3, what are we doing this week? We are learning when to use the sound. Which sound goes where? We're learning the of her. We're using the of church, and we're looking at the of bird. Next, I'm going to show you what I'd like you to do with your list words when you go back to your seat. Group 1, when you go back to your seats, this is what I want you to do. You're going to read your word and you're going to map out the sounds. Incentive. Then we're going to map those sounds to print. In. Then you're going to read the next word and so on. Now it's double time today, so then you're going to go and do it again. Good. Group 2, when you go back to your seats, this is what I want you to do. You are going to read the word and you're going to map out the sounds. My word is freeze. Freeze. Now map the sounds. Guess what? It's double time. Do it again. Freeze. Freeze. Map those sounds. Let's apply that to our next list word. Our word is browse. Map it. Double time, do it again. Browse. Map it. Good. Group 3, when you go back to your seats, this is what I want you to do. I want you to read your word and I want you to map the sounds. Your word is yesterday. Y-E-S-T-E-D-A. Map them. Wednesday now moves into a word study task. In stages 3 and 4, you will select 6 words from each list and complete one of the word study tasks outlined in your Time Savers books. Children following a stage 1 and 2 program will continue to do another day's speech sound mapping. Now we move into the Thursday and Friday components of our lesson block across the week, which is repeated reading and phonic dictation. In stages 3 and 4, we read the passage through first before moving on to phonic dictation. Children working in stages 1 and 2 will read the passage through first to decode, then we will read for fluency and expression before moving on to phonic dictation. I will now demonstrate with Group 2. Group 2, we've been learning that the S and E and Z and E at the end of a word make the digraph sound Z. So we're going to highlight as we read. On a Friday, you may choose to reread that passage for fluency and expression. Goose on the loose. For the past week, the horse and the mouse had heard strange noises coming from the house. The horse wondered if someone should investigate, so who sent the mouse? The mouse crept into the house. There he saw a goose covered in grease. The goose had made a bike. Watch out! A goose is on the loose, yelled the mouse as the goose sped past. The goose crashed into the horse, and now the horse was covered in grease. Curse you, goose, said the horse. A goose is no longer on the loose, giggled the mouse. Once you have done your reading through on a Thursday and your reading through on your Friday, then it is phonic dictation. You remove the passage from view. Students place their pencils down, then the phonic dictation begins. For the past week, what are you going to write? For the past week, go. The horse and the mouse had heard. The horse and the mouse had heard. The horse and the mouse had heard. What are you going to write? The horse and the mouse had heard. Go. Strange noises coming from the house, full stop. Strange noises coming from the house, full stop. Strange noises coming from the house, full stop. What are you going to write? Strange noises coming from the house. Go. Now at this point, you may choose to edit the sentence as you go. Check for capital letters, check for punctuation, check for words written in context before moving on. The horse wondered if someone should. The horse wondered if someone should. The horse wondered if someone should. What are you going to write? The horse wondered if someone should. Go. For students working in stages 1 and 2, the process is slightly different. The first reading is for decoding. Repeat reading for fluency and expression. Group 3, we've been looking at our sounds. Soccer on Saturday. Remember that a member from the Western soccer club will phone on at a Saturday, full stop. Remember that this person would like to establish a game between the Western Perth suburbs and the Northern Perth suburbs. Now we're going to reread for fluency in expression. Remember that a member from the Western Soccer Club will phone on Saturday. Remember that this person would like to establish a game between the Western Perth suburbs and the Northern Perth suburbs. The game is likely to be held in the suburb of North Perth and is likely to draw interest and a significant crowd. The game will be the perfect start to the season and an excellent way to attract new soccer club members. You will do the same process on a Thursday as on a Friday. Before moving into the phonic dictation passage. Drawing to a conclusion, in this video you have viewed the starter pack lesson block. Let's break it down. On a Monday, Tuesday, you start with a whole class daily review before moving into speech sound mapping tasks. On a Wednesday, you start with a whole class daily review before moving into word study tasks. And on a Thursday and Friday, it's for repeated reading and phonic dictation.
If you found this information useful, don't forget to click the subscribe button and check out our related videos shown here. If you have any questions or feedback, please add them to the comments below and we'll be sure to respond. Otherwise, you can reach us via live chat on our website, pld-literacy.org. Thanks again for viewing.